Hey there! So you're learning English and want to chat with native speakers like a pro? That's awesome! Communicating with native speakers can feel intimidating, especially if you're not 100% confident in your English yet. But don't worry, I've got your back. In this guide, I'm going to share practical, friendly tips to help you approach conversations with confidence, politeness, and clarity. Whether you're struggling to understand what someone says, forgetting a word, or just wanting to sound more natural, I'll walk you through it all. Let's dive in and make those conversations smoother and more fun. 1. Start with a positive mindset. First things first, let's talk about your mindset. Approaching native speakers can feel like stepping into uncharted territory, but they're just people, like you and me. Most native speakers are super kind and appreciate when someone is trying to communicate in their language. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're a part of the journey. Instead of thinking, what if I mess up? Try thinking, this is my chance to learn and connect. A smile and a friendly attitude go a long way in making the conversation feel natural and relaxed. 2. Politely asking someone to repeat themselves. Sometimes native speakers talk fast or their accent might throw you off. If you didn't catch what they said, don't panic. It's totally okay to ask them to repeat or clarify. The key is to do it politely and confidently. Here are some go-to phrases you can use. Sorry, could you repeat that one more time, please? This is simple, polite, and shows you're engaged. I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again, please? This works great if you missed part of what they said. Could you speak a bit slower, please? I'm still learning English. Sorry, what was that last part? When you ask, make sure to smile or nod to show you're interested. Native speakers will usually appreciate your effort and slow down or rephrase. If you still don't understand after they repeat, try this. Could you explain it in a different way? I'm not sure I got it. This invites them to simplify or use different words without making it awkward. Pro tip: don't just say, "What?" It can come across as abrupt or rude in some situations. Adding sorry or please softens your request and keeps the vibe friendly. 3. What to do when you forget a word. We've all been there. You're in the middle of a sentence and poof, the word you need disappears from your brain. Don't freeze. There are super easy ways to keep the conversation flowing even if you can't remember the exact word. Here's what you can do. If you can't think of the word beautiful, try pretty, lovely, or nice. Even simpler words work. For example, instead of enormous, you could say big or huge. Keep a mental list of basic synonyms for common words to fall back on. If you're stuck, explain what you mean. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, you could say, the thing you use when it's raining to stay dry. Native speakers are great at playing along and might even supply the word for you. Body language is your friend. If you're trying to say scissors but can't remember the word, mimic cutting with your fingers. Or, for spicy, you could fan your mouth like you just ate something hot. It adds a fun vibe to the conversation, and people usually love the creativity. If you can't find the perfect word, rephrase your sentence. For example, instead of saying, "I'm exhausted," you could say, "I feel really tired." Keep it simple and move on. Sorry, I forgot the word in English. What's the thing called that? Most native speakers will jump in to help, and it keeps the conversation collaborative. 4. Active listening makes a big difference. Listening is just as important as speaking when you're communicating with native speakers. Active listening shows you're engaged and helps you understand better. Here's how to do it. A little nod, a smile, or a quick uh-huh shows you're following along. It also gives you a moment to process what's being said. If you want to make sure you understood, try repeating or rephrasing what they said. For example, if they say, "I went hiking last weekend," you could respond, "Oh, you went hiking? That sounds fun." This confirms you got it and keeps the conversation flowing. Ask follow-up questions. Show interest by asking questions like, "What was that like?" or "Where did you go?" It shows you're invested and gives you more time to practice. If you're struggling to keep up, focus on catching the main idea instead of every single word. Native speakers often use filler words like, or which you can usually ignore. 5. Be polite and respect cultural differences. Politeness goes a long way, but what's considered polite can vary depending on the culture. In English-speaking countries, here are some general tips to keep things friendly. Please and thank you. These little words are magic. For example, "Can you help me, please?" Or "Thanks so much for explaining that. Makes you sound warm and appreciative." Instead of asking, "Why are you late?" try, "Is everything okay? I noticed you are running a bit late." It's softer and less confrontational. Respect personal space. In many English-speaking cultures, people value personal space in conversations. Avoid standing too close or touching unless you know the person well. Be mindful of humor. Humor can be tricky across cultures. If you're joking, keep it light and avoid sensitive topics until you know the person better. If you're unsure about cultural norms, observe how native speakers interact and mimic their tone or phrases. It's a great way to blend in. 6. Practice common phrases for smooth conversations. Having a few go-to phrases in your pocket can make conversations feel more natural. Here are some versatile ones to memorize. "Hi, how's it going?" Or, "Hey, I was wondering if you could help me with something." "That's interesting. Tell me more." Or, "What do you think about?" "It was great talking to you." Or, "Thanks for the chat. I'll catch you later." "Sorry, my English isn't perfect yet." Or, "Oops, I meant to say." These phrases are like training wheels. They give you confidence while you're still learning. 7. Don't be afraid to slow down. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to slow down the conversation. You can say, "I'm still learning English, so I might need a moment to think." Most people will respect that and give you the space to process. Also, try speaking a bit slower yourself. It can help you choose your words carefully and gives the other person a cue to match your pace. 8. Learn to laugh at mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen, and that's totally fine. Maybe you say kitchen instead of chicken. Yep, I've done that. And you both end up laughing. Instead of feeling embarrassed, embrace it. You could say, "Oh no, that's not what I meant. Let me try again." Laughing at your own mistakes shows confidence and makes the conversation more relaxed. Plus, those funny moments are often the ones you and the native speaker will remember fondly. 9. Expand your vocabulary strategically. You don't need to know every word in the dictionary to communicate well. Focus on learning words and phrases that are useful for your daily life or specific situations. For example, everyday topics, words for food, travel, work, or hobbies. Connectors like however, also, because, or for example, make your sentences sound smoother. Fillers use phrases like "you know," "I mean," or "kind of" to sound natural. Sprinkle these in, but don't overdo it to blend in. Try keeping a small notebook or app where you jot down new words or phrases you hear in conversations. Review them regularly, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your vocab grows. 10. Practice, practice, practice. The best way to get better at communicating with native speakers is to do it as much as possible. Here are some fun ways to practice. Apps like Tandem or HelloTalk connect you with native speakers who want to learn your language. It's a win-win. Watch English shows, YouTube videos, or movies with subtitles. Pause and repeat phrases to practice pronunciation and tone. Seriously, practice describing your day or explaining something in English when you're alone. It builds confidence. Find safe spaces. Look for local meetups, online forums, or language clubs where you can chat with native speakers in a low-pressure environment. 11. Handling tough situations. Sometimes conversations can get tricky. Maybe the native speaker uses slang you don't know, or they're talking about a topic you're unfamiliar with. Here's how to handle it. If they say something like, "It's raining cats and dogs," and you're confused, just ask, "What does that mean?" Most people love explaining their language's quirks. Unfamiliar topics. If they're talking about something you don't know much about, steer the conversation to something you're comfortable with. For example, "That's interesting. I don't know much about that, but I love talking about..." If someone interrupts you, don't take it personally. It's common in fast-paced conversations. Just wait for a pause and jump back in with, "Sorry, I was just saying." 12. Build confidence over time. Communicating with native speakers gets easier the more you do it. Celebrate small wins, like understanding a joke or finishing a conversation without needing to switch languages. Each chat is a step forward, even if it's not perfect. Be patient with yourself. You're learning, and that's something to be proud of. Final thoughts. Talking to native speakers is like learning to ride a bike. It might feel wobbly at first, but with practice, you'll be cruising along in no time. Be kind to yourself, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask for help or clarification. Native speakers will appreciate your effort, and you'll be surprised at how quickly you improve. So, go out there, start a conversation, and have fun with it. You've got this. What's your next step? Maybe try one of these tips in your next conversation and let me know how it goes. I'm cheering you on.